Hello, English learners. Welcome to this episode. Today, we will talk about how to think in English. If you don't understand English well, don't worry. After this episode, you will know everything you need. Thinking in English is an important skill, and we will show you how to do it step by step.
I am Alexa, and I am happy to help you improve your English thinking skills. Many learners translate from their native language to English, but this slows them down. If you want to speak fluently, you need to start thinking directly in English. We will give you simple tips and exercises to help you train your mind to do this easily.
I'm Alex, and I agree. One of the best ways to think in English is to surround yourself with it. Listen to English music, watch English movies, and read English books. The more you hear and see English, the more your brain will start using it naturally. Don't stress about mistakes, just keep practicing.
That's right. Another great tip is to describe what you see in English. For example, if you are walking outside, think in English about what you see. The sky is blue. The trees are green. This helps your brain process English without translating. It may feel difficult at first, but with practice, it gets easier.
A simple exercise you can try is talking to yourself in English. For example, when you wake up, say, I am getting out of bed. I am brushing my teeth. This helps your mind stay in English. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. It's like training your brain to think in a new way.
Yes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a normal part of learning. Instead of worrying, focus on communicating. If you don't know a word, try to describe it in English instead of translating it. For example, if you forget the word pillow, you can say, it is soft, and I sleep on it.
Another great way to think in English is to ask yourself simple questions in English. For example, what do I want to eat? Or what do I need to do today? Then, try to answer in English. This will help you think faster and get used to forming sentences in English naturally.
That's a great idea. Also, try to use English for daily tasks. Change your phone language to English. Write your shopping list in English, or keep a daily journal in English. Small changes like these make a big difference. The more you interact with English, the easier thinking in English becomes.
If you want to think in English, you also need to expand your vocabulary. Learn new words every day and try to use them in sentences. If you learn the word delicious, think about what food is delicious. For example, pizza is delicious. This helps you remember words naturally.
Yes, and reading in English is very helpful. Start with simple books or articles. Try to understand the meaning without translating every word. If you see a new word, guess its meaning from the sentence. Over time, your brain will get better at understanding English directly.
Another way to practice is by listening and repeating. Listen to native speakers and try to copy their pronunciation and sentence structure. This helps train your brain to think like a native speaker. You can use podcasts, movies, or even English songs to do this exercise.
Speaking with others in English is also important. If you have a friend who speaks English, try to have conversations in English. If you don't have anyone to talk to, you can practice speaking by recording yourself. The more you speak, the more comfortable you will feel.
Don't forget to be patient with yourself. Learning to think in English takes time, but if you practice every day, you will see improvement. Even if it feels difficult now, keep going. Your brain will slowly start using English more naturally.
That's true. And remember to enjoy the process. If you have fun while learning, it becomes easier. Play English word games, watch interesting videos, or even write a short story in English. When you make learning enjoyable, it helps you stay motivated.
Also, focus on phrases, not just words. Instead of memorizing single words, learn whole phrases. For example, instead of learning book, learn I am reading a book. This helps you think in full sentences, making your English sound more natural.
Yes, and another great tip is to repeat common sentences. For example, how are you? I am fine, thank you. If you repeat them often, they become automatic, and you won't need to think about them. This makes speaking English much easier.
Try to set small goals for yourself. Maybe today you practice thinking in English for 5 minutes and tomorrow for 10 minutes. Small steps lead to big improvements. The more you practice, the closer you get to fluency.
That's right, and don't compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own speed. The most important thing is to keep going and believe in yourself. Every small step you take brings you closer to thinking and speaking in English fluently.
Another important tip is to use English in your daily thoughts. When you wake up, think about your plans in English. Say to yourself, today I will go to work. After work, I will go to the gym. This helps your brain switch to English naturally, making it easier to speak without translating.
That's a great idea. Also, try using English in your emotions. If you feel happy, think, I am happy today. If you feel tired, say, I need some rest. Connecting English with your emotions makes it more natural. The more you think in English, the more automatic it becomes in your daily life.
Another trick is to use simple English words first. Don't try to think in difficult sentences. Start with easy thoughts, like it is a sunny day or I am eating lunch. As you get better, your sentences will become more complex. Step by step, your brain will adjust.
Yes, and don't be afraid to talk to yourself in English out loud. Even if you are alone, saying things like, I need to buy some milk or I will take the bus today helps train your mind. The more you practice, the more confident you will become when speaking with others.
Another useful method is storytelling. Try to make up short stories in English. For example, imagine a cat in a park. Think, the cat is sitting on the bench. It is looking at the birds. Creating stories in English helps you use words naturally and makes learning fun.
That's a great exercise. Also, when you hear or read new English words, try to use them immediately. If you learn the word exciting, think of a sentence. This movie is exciting. Using new words right away helps you remember them better and think in English faster.
If you love music, use songs to practice. Listen to English songs, read the lyrics, and try to understand them without translation. Then, sing along. This improves your listening and speaking skills. Music helps your brain remember words and phrases naturally.
That's a fun way to learn. You can also think in English while watching a movie. Instead of reading subtitles, focus on listening. Try to guess the meaning of new words from the situation. Over time, your brain will get used to understanding English without needing translation.
Another great way to practice thinking in English is to ask yourself why and how questions. For example, why do I like this food? Or how does this work? Then, try to answer in English. This helps you form longer thoughts and express your ideas more naturally. That's a smart strategy. You can also use English when making decisions. If you are choosing what to wear, think, should I wear the blue shirt or the red one? Making choices in English helps your brain stay in English mode and improves your decision-making skills in the language.
One more tip is to use a dictionary in English, not one that translates to your native language. When you see a new word, read its definition in English. This way, you train your brain to understand meanings without translating. It might feel hard at first, but over time, it gets easier. Yes, and another great technique is practicing common conversations in your head. Imagine you are at a restaurant and the waiter asks, "What would you like to order?" Think of how you would respond in English. Doing this regularly helps you get ready for real-life situations.
Try setting a no translation rule for yourself. For a few minutes every day, force yourself to only think in English. If you don't know a word, describe it using other English words instead of translating. This makes your brain more flexible and improves your fluency.
That's a great challenge. Another tip is to give yourself small English tasks. For example, when cooking, think about each step in English. Now, I cut the vegetables. Next, I boil the water. These small exercises make English a natural part of your daily routine.
If you love writing, try keeping a daily journal in English. Write about your day, your feelings, or your plans. Don't worry about mistakes, just focus on expressing your thoughts. Writing in English regularly helps train your brain to think in English.
Yes, and reading is also very helpful. Try reading simple English books or news articles. When you read, don't translate every word, just try to understand the main idea. The more you read, the more your brain will recognize English patterns naturally.
Another helpful method is shadowing. Listen to an English podcast or video and repeat what the speaker says as soon as you hear it. This helps you think in English quickly and improves your pronunciation. It's a great way to train your brain to respond in English.
That's a fantastic idea. Finally, stay patient and enjoy the learning process. Thinking in English won't happen overnight, but with regular practice, you will improve. Keep going, stay motivated, and soon, thinking in English will feel completely natural.
Another great way to train your brain to think in English is by describing your surroundings. Look around and say, "The sky is blue. The trees are tall." This simple practice helps your brain get used to forming sentences in English without translating.
Yes, and you can also describe your actions. If you are washing dishes, think, "I am washing the dishes." The water is warm. If you are walking, say, "I am walking to the store." This method helps you stay in an English thinking mindset throughout the day.
A good exercise is to ask yourself, "What am I doing now?" and answer in English. For example, "I am sitting in a chair." "I am drinking coffee." The more you practice, the faster your brain will form sentences in English without needing to translate.
That's a great idea. You can also set reminders on your phone in English. Write simple notes like "drink water" or "finish your work." Saying English words daily will make them feel natural, and soon you won't need to translate in your head.
Another way to improve is by using English for small calculations. If you need to add numbers, do it in English. 5 plus 3 is 8. If you check the time, think, "It's for 30 p.m." Small habits like this help your brain stay in English mode.
Yes, and when you go shopping, try thinking in English. Instead of making a list in your native language, write it in English. Milk, bread, apples. When you see products, describe them in English. This way, you practice without extra effort.
A useful trick is to set your phone and apps to English. When you use social media, read posts in English. When you search for something, use English. Surrounding yourself with the language makes your brain adapt faster and think in English naturally.
That's a smart move. Also, try watching short English videos without subtitles. If you don't understand everything, that's okay. Focus on the words you do understand. Over time, your brain will get better at recognizing English without needing translation.
Another idea is to practice giving yourself instructions in English. If you're cooking, think, "First, I cut the vegetables. Then, I heat the pan." Talking yourself through tasks in English helps make it a habit in your daily life.
Exactly. The key is practice and patience. At first, it may feel slow, but if you keep practicing every day, your brain will learn to think in English naturally. Stay positive and keep going soon. You won't even need to translate at all.
Another great way to think in English is to create small challenges for yourself. For example, decide that for the next 10 minutes, you will only think in English. If you don't know a word, try to explain it using simple English. This forces your brain to stay in English mode.
That's a fun challenge. Another method is to imagine conversations in English. Think of a topic and pretend you are talking to someone. For example, imagine ordering coffee at a cafe. "Hello, I'd like a coffee, please. Practicing imaginary conversations helps you feel more confident in real situations.
A great habit is to review your day in English before sleeping. Ask yourself, what did I do today? And answer in English. I woke up early. I went to work. I had lunch with a friend. This simple practice helps you think in English naturally.
That's a powerful habit. Another tip is to set small goals. For example, learn 5 new English words each day and try to use them in your thoughts. If today's words are excited and plan, think, I am excited about my plans tomorrow. This makes learning more effective.
Finally, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Thinking in English is about progress, not perfection. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Just keep going, and soon you will think in English without even realizing it. Keep practicing and have fun.